There we go. I could yell too. Good morning. Welcome to the January State Board of Education. I know there's a lot going on with school back in full swing, and appreciate you all being here. We will start with a moment of silence. Thank you. First on our agenda, we have Ross White to come up. It's always great to start the day in celebration. Thank you, Ross, for bringing us something to celebrate today.
No problem. Good morning, Ross White, Director for the Division of Career and Technical Education. So I get to bring to you again this month another celebration that we're excited about. So there's a group called the Association for Career and Technical Educators. So it is obviously a professional organization for career and technical educators for the U.S. They do a large awards program for career and technical educators, similar to Teacher of the Year piece. And so they recognize 7 different groups of educators across the U.S. In different areas. And we are fortunate in the state of Arkansas that back in November in Phoenix, Arizona, that one of our own was named the National New Teacher of the Year in the field of career and technical education. So we have here today, I'm going to give you a little bio and then let her come up and speak to you all. So Mindy Lau is a family and consumer science teacher at the Ouachita River School District, specifically on the Akron campus. Mindy has been in the classroom for 6 years. She teaches 7 different courses, the life of small schools and career and technical education. So from family consumer science, food safety, nutrition, food production, child development, career development, and life and fitness nutrition. She's also the FCCLA advisor, which comes with a lot of tasks and jobs in that, which includes many different things. She has been able to secure over $65,000 in grants for her classes through different grant opportunities to continue to grow that. Her FCCLA chapter is very active and currently has a state officer, including the Arkansas state president for that, and 6 regional officers. So she's obviously very active in a pretty rural, small district, giving those students a lot of opportunities, which is what we're always excited about. Another important part of this award is they're always recognizing those that are committed to their professional piece of their career, and so her involvement in the state and different organizations growing career and technical education for our state. So at this time, I would invite Ms. Lowell to come up and join us.
Thank you for having me. This is an incredible opportunity. This whole thing has been an incredible opportunity. I'm super passionate about CTE education. We are a very small district, and I came in non-traditionally pretty late in the game because I raised my kiddos first before I went back to work. So my school district took a chance on me and brought me in as a FACS teacher non-traditionally, and it just kind of hit the ground running to give my kids all the opportunities that they could possibly get. And if it's not with me in FACS, if it's in construction trades or ag, I don't care. I want them to find their passion, not their parents' passion, not their siblings or their peers, their passion, so that they can take it with them beyond my classroom. So this has just been kind of a whirlwind the last 2 or 3 years because it's been a process, but I am incredibly honored, and thank you so much for having me here today.
Congratulations.
Thank
you for coming in and for sharing your work with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
They're only seeing this, they're not seeing like
May we take a picture with you?
Sure.
motion that we approve the waiver.
We have a motion by Ms. Rollins. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Hunter. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
The second waiver request comes from Pulaski County Special School District. They have one student over the class in pre-calculus. They are compensating the teacher for the overage of that particular student at a daily rate of pay, and we do not have any concerns about this particular waiver request. It is for the same standard 1.A-5.
Thank you. And I believe I see Dr. Williams, Assistant Superintendent of Pulaski County, online. Thank you for joining us today. Did you have any comments here?
No, ma'am. None if there isn't a question.
Okay, we'll see if board members have questions. Ms. Rollins?
I think I don't know if it's a question. Is this a special education student? Did I read that correctly?
No, ma'am.
It's not, okay. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Ms. Hunter?
No.
Mr. Wood?
No.
Ms. Skeeter? Mr. Henderson? Mr. Bragg? Ms. Woods? Ms. Salon? Okay. Then any more comments or questions? Then the floor will be open for a motion.
Move to approve the waiver request.
A motion to approve by Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Keener. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Williams, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to look at the Warren School District. I believe first we're going to look at the consideration of the Charter Authorizing Panel's decision for Warren Middle School. Are we going to, okay, Ms. Summons is going to introduce us. Sorry, Superintendent Cornish, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for coming today.
Good morning. Dory Summons, Office of Public Charter Schools. The Warren Middle School has
Since 2018, we have 60 open at our school district. We hired 46 1240s, and 20 of those teachers retained their full licensure. We currently have unit planning. We do continued professional development. They're part of our content teams, our PLC teams. We do, the district
constantly monitoring those teachers, and then if we even hints that they're struggling whatsoever, we pull that teacher out and give them a full day or however much time needed to work with Ms. Rhonda one-on-one. She's hands-on, and she's the front line with those 1240s, and when they show up to teach, we normally already have their unit plans designed for them. They know what's expected of them, and Ms. Rhonda's in her classroom, and she's helping them monitor that lesson and model sometimes those lessons with them. So we don't just turn them loose to the wolves and let them go when they show up. So I wish that we don't have that, but that's a 5-year plan that they have that we all, and it makes us, has us consistent, and we just hold them accountable to those expectations that they're held to during the school year. Okay.
And so the impact that it's had on our student achievement and learning, we have moved our letter grade from a D to a C school. Our ELA growth, I have a 1240 teacher. Last year was her first year in 8th grade ELA, and 46% of their students were ready or exceeding, which I thought was wonderful, especially in our area. Reading has really been a struggle for us as far as having kids ready or exceeding. We've been able to hire more minority teachers for our diverse population, and offer more face-to-face instruction instead of having to offer a virtual option if we did not have a teacher in the classroom. And we've been able to implement, over the last 2 years, a school-wide tier support system to help kids that are 2 or more years behind, and then students that are struggling with classroom standards.
We're highly committed to hiring a certified person first. Only on an emergency situation have we hired 1240s. We're currently into that situation right now at Warren Middle School. There's been a teacher resign, and so we are, Kathy and I have had conversation about maybe she's teaching the class the remainder of the year instead of hiring a 1240. If we can't find a qualified applicant, we're just not gonna hire someone to throw in to make it through the year whenever, if she's willing to go in or Ms. Rhonda's willing to step in and help out in that. It's a tested area, it's a literacy. And so we don't want to go out and just hire right now 1240. A lot of times our 1240 hiring comes in within a week of school starting. We'll have a teacher resign or have a teacher, and then we're not getting applications. People aren't coming to the community of Warren right now. There's not a lot of job opportunities there, especially for college people that have college degrees. And so I think our Grow Our Own initiative helps us out tremendously. And then just having the reputation of our school is what we got to depend on, hopefully having qualified applicants apply for our positions. So.
All right, from there, which one?
The shift.
Yeah, I want to go to that now. Okay, when we talk about the shift, when we came to get the charter approved, we were on the personalized learning spectrum. And in those, it was standards-driven curriculum with proficiency scales in a 4-3-1-2 grading system. It also went through an instructional design component for that, timely assessment system and feedback to our students, learner-centered instruction, data-driven for continuous improvement, and reporting, recording, of course, those grades on a 4-3-1 standards-based report card, and communication with our parents and within our schools. And just to answer, I'll wait and answer that in a minute. Now we're more focused on high levels of learning for all, which we still have our standards-driven curriculum. We still have our district-wide instructional model and instructional design system. We still give our timely feedback and assessments. We're still student learning system, learner-centered instruction, still data-driven, but moving more toward that traditional grading and reporting. I think that's the main component that's out, and to give that, is our parents couldn't wrap their heads around it. They wanted to know, do I give them ice cream or do I beat them? I don't want to know if they have a 3. I want to know, are they passing? And that was something that our parents never could. We thought that that would help as it grew up with our students, and it didn't. Our parents were just really set in that traditional setting. And then we still have our communication system with our parents and within our school. And mainly there is that grading system with community pushback. They just never really could get that component going. And I would say a teacher turnover, and you're in a standards-based, competency-based system, as the teacher, you have to really be well-versed in knowledge in your content and what standards in the level of DOK within your standards. And when we would have teacher turnover and we would have to hire, let's say, a 1240 who had never taught before, that was a struggle for those teachers. And so our students were working ahead of our teachers, and because the students knew the system, they had been in it. And so it was a real struggle to keep the momentum going and keep our teachers from getting frustrated. And I would say through that, we did lose some teachers to a more traditional setting.
We lost teachers and we lost students. We had students leave and go to another school there, and we lost students, a private school in our area, and also we lost students to just local surrounding other public schools when we started implementing this, and we wouldn't move away from it. So.
And with the pacing issue and mastering their standards, when you have that proficiency skill, sometimes it become a checklist in classrooms and not true student mastery.
So let me
go ahead.
rephrase that. We watered it down sometimes for the teachers that were struggling with it. They would have to water the curriculum down just to satisfy the parent or the teacher, and that's not acceptable. So that's another reason for the shift.
And when we were noticing we knew we had those struggles, we went to a high reliability school summit in Austin, Texas, and there we learned looking at the levels of high reliability schools, and we were on level 4 and 5, where there was levels 1, 2, and 3, and we were missing some major components. Whereas not so much a safe and orderly school, but we were missing the teaching and learning level 2, some components of that, and then we were missing some components of that guaranteed and viable curriculum. And though we were working on it, it wasn't to the level that we went to. So we took a step back at that time and started really focusing on levels 1 and 2 and 3. We are currently certified HRS school, really a district in levels 1 and 2, and working toward level 3 now. And we just wanted to be a unified feeder school. You know, the high school was no longer a charter. We kept our charter to feed into them. And with that, with high school, nor the grades below us having that charter, we don't feel like we need that anymore. So that was our rationale for the change that we are rescinding the charter.
I think we'll be glad to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll start here, Ms. Rollins, questions? Ms. Hunter? Mr. Wood?
Why the 3-year request at this time instead of a year-to-year request?
We were trying to unify with the other campuses. I guess it was 2 years ago, our Southeast Arkansas Co-op came before the board and asked for a waiver of 5 years, a 1240 waiver, and all the other campuses on our school in our district have was granted a 5-year waiver at that time, except for Warren Middle School because they were under the charter. So given a 3-year waiver at this time, that would unify us as a district. We'd all have 3 years left for a 1240 waiver.
Okay.
Ms. Keener, questions?
Yeah, so I want to understand the timeline here. So looking at it looks like the charter authorizing panel in December rescinded current waivers, correct? So are you seeking waivers for this year for current